So the Rows go down to the Lunar Owls in a very chippy, very competitive, tensions are high, trash talking game. So yesterday I probably watched the most basketball I have ever seen in a day. Definitely did not get my steps in. And I do want to do a video on the Iowa-Ohio State game too, because wow, was that a game. And Ava Hayden, we will see you in the W. But March Madness is descending upon us. We will be going that direction. But we are now in the Unrivaled playoffs, and I did watch both games, the Phantom versus the Laces, and I watched the Lunar Owls versus the Rows. And to be totally honest, the Lunar Owls versus the Rows is the only game I'm going to cover in this video. And it started off very competitive, but kind of in a different way, where Chelsea Gray and Skylar Diggins Smith, Chelsea Gray has really been trying to prove that she still has it, as she said in a post-game interview a few games ago, because a lot of people are talking about how Chelsea Gray doesn't have it anymore. And since then, she has been putting up like 26, 28 points a game. So to her credit there. Is she the best point guard in the WNBA? Not at this moment. Was she? I think so. But Skylar Diggins Smith is the most competitive player I think I might have ever seen that outwardly shows it. And it starts off, Chelsea Gray gets a bucket. Then it goes, and Skylar Diggins Smith gets a bucket. Then Chelsea Gray goes back, she gets a bucket. Then Skylar Diggins Smith, she goes back and gets a bucket. And you can tell the level of competition right off the bat with this game, people. And boy, it just only grew from there. But I'm telling you, like, this Chelsea-Skylar thing, it was almost as if they had like a beef or something and they were just trying to one-up each other. I mean, even in the middle of the second quarter, they were at the exact same like point number. They both had 8 points. Now, Skylar's efficiency was a little better as Chelsea Gray was taking more shots. So Skylar's like field goal percentage was better, although she was 0 for 1 at this point in the game, at the 3. But at this point in time, Chelsea had had 2 assists and a steal, and Skylar had had none of those, but she did have 2 blocks. Now this is not very tall Skylar Diggins Smith getting those 2 blocks by the second quarter. But let me tell you, the Rows and the Owls were just trading top scores. This in the beginning was a game where I was thinking, oh my God, are the Rows the Lunar Owls kryptonite? Because they have been the only team in the entire season to beat Nepheesa Collier, Skylar Diggins Smith, and Alicia Gray, the top 3 players of the league in the entire season. And there have been a couple of glow-ups on the Rows. Chelsea Gray has glowed up with what she's been able to do. Angel Reese has definitely glowed up. Ever since Lisa Leslie has said, you know what, I'm going to work with you on your layups, I have been noticing in every game they have gotten more purposeful, less kind of like toss up and pray for the best. She is not trying to garner fouls by starting low as often. So yes, Angel Reese herself has definitely glowed up. And of course, she does come away with yet another double-double. Now, with all these talks about, high people and scoring higher points, there is a reason for that in Unrivaled, and that is because you are not being guarded as much as you would in the WNBA with 5v5, because there is way more floor spacing, there are less defenders protecting you. But you know what? This is a totally different format, so we're not going to compare the stats to the WNBA stats, but we'll just compare the stats to every player. And not everybody is getting these double-doubles in every game, and not everybody is scoring as much as Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray is near or at the top in scoring, I think, in the entire league. And Britney Sykes. Britney Sykes, who has not really shown a lot as far as like points go in the season yet, she has showed up and decided, hey, I want to score an Unrivaled too. And she was in for 19 minutes and she scored 17 points. And let's just talk about the entertainment aspect of the trash talk of this game and the competitive nature and how chippy it got on the court, because Skylar Diggins Smith, of course Skylar Diggins Smith, who else, and Britney Sykes had a foul altercation and, had me holding my breath for a second. We had an Angel Reese, Shakira Austin highlight.
First spot, draws 2, sling it, Reese!
Angel Reese was on Nepheesa Collier. Angel Reese was on Nepheesa Collier, giving her a bunch of frustrating bumps. And at the end of the game, the Lunar Owls does come away with the dub. And I think Nepheesa Collier had just about enough. And the person who, just in an interview yesterday that I watched, who talked about how she was not a confrontational person, does this. So she hits that game-winning final. I don't know what she says to Angel. Maybe she says, hey, how about you wake up and smell them roses? Maybe she says, this is my league. What do you think about that? And Lexi Hull, she showed up in the game too, but what she did does not show up in the box scores. Lexi Hull has a motor. She is a defensive gnat. She is like always on you. She is never making anything easy. She kept knocking the ball away from the Lunar Owls in their possessions. I mean, she was tenacious. She was not letting them have any breathing room whatsoever to make any easy open shots. Now, in this format, she has not been scoring at her best. But again, this is 3v3 as opposed to 5v5. So let's give her some grace there. As with other players. One of the more fascinating players of the evening was Shakira Austin, though, who came away with the most points, in for 14 minutes and scoring 17 points. And she was going toe-to-toe with Angel. And to be completely honest, Angel has been pretty much unguardable in this format, and Shakira Austin was giving her a run for her money. Courtney Williams showed up with that classic elbow midi she has, in for 12 minutes, scoring 12 points. Now, Nepheesa Collier did not have her best game. And I was seeing a lot of people posting like about, oh, Nepheesa, like thinking she did anything after that first quarter. But she does a bad game for Nepheesa Collier was her scoring 16 points, which was the second most on her team. I mean, to be totally honest, the highest scoring points on both teams were 17, with Britney Sykes, Angel Reese, and Shakira Austin all scoring 17 points. But yes, so Nepheesa Collier did have an off game, and an off game for Nepheesa Collier is 16 points, and that is kind of a flex. But if you look at the rest of her stats, she had 2 assists, she had 2 steals, she had a block, so she was like stuffing that stat sheet. Oh, and not to mention 9 rebounds, so she almost gets a double-double. But you know, Angel Reese also stuffed that stat sheet with the 10 rebounds, giving her the double-double, 2 assists, a steal, and also a block. And when the game was going on, I was online, like posting live updates, and someone had responded to me about Ben Daniels posting something about how Unrivaled needs to be more like WWE. Well, Ben Daniels, I think that's happening now. Maybe they watched your video, I don't know. Because this was a game that anybody could have gotten into. Their last game was really good. This game is really good. They are in the playoffs now. They are working. There's only 2 more weeks of the season. So they're coming to an end. So things are getting competitive. Things are getting chippy. I think the whole kumbaya of Unrivaled, where everyone loves each other, you know, they still do. I still see different opponents like, you know, helping each other up, giving each other kind of hugs, saying, hey, sorry, I fouled you kind of thing. But the competition level is like elevating exponentially. And you know, the Iowa-Ohio State game started at the very end of this game, so I was like flipping back and forth, so I had to kind of rewatch some of the Unrivaled game because the Ohio State-Iowa game was so crazy. Talk about like you're back and forth, like who's on top, who's a better team, and I will make a video, but oh my god, that will be coming up next, folks. One more thing that I do want to say about the Lunar Owls and the Rose game is that the Lunar Owls have such a great shot efficiency percentage, and they did have a great field goal percentage in the game yesterday. They got 50% of their field goal shots, like in the paint, but they were at the worst 3-point shot percentage I have seen them at in the entire season. So there is something to be said about the Rose playing this team as probably their biggest competition, as they shot 9% from the 3. Now, the Rose field goal percentage was a lot less than the Lunar Owls at 41%, but their 3-point percentage was better. Not saying that this is good either, because honestly, the Lunar Owls puts up a fight for the Rose and does not make it easy on them. And their 3-point percentage was 23%. But let me tell you, there was so much basketball yesterday. USC beats Indiana. South Carolina wins their game. UCLA beats the pants off of Nebraska, unshockingly. I mean, Lauren Betts could not be stopped. And the Iowa-Ohio State was a heartbreaker of an outcome. Even if either team won, this game was just so scrappy. The win was by 1 point, of which I will go into in the next video. But wow, what a game. And you guys, there's a little bit of drama involved in that outcome too. So stay tuned.